This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
A lot is happening in the country, a lot is happening in Kampala, and well, away from the chaos, rotating around IFRIS and URA's wrangles and let's say sit-down discussions, dialogues with the traders, there is a lot also happening within the Kampala metropolitan. And then also at the outskirts of the city, more so in the city suburbs. But besides that, Monday, 3rd June, will see Uganda and other believers from elsewhere come together to celebrate Martyrs' Day. A day that is a day for the believers fully. A day where we remember the martyrs, our fellow brothers who died for their faith. It is a good thing that we are going to have a discussion about that and more in regards to the security preparedness ahead of Martyrs' Day celebrations. But that aside, there is a lot that is happening in the country, like I've mentioned, in regards to the ongoing isolated cases. I've termed them as isolated cases because they are not so common everywhere. But of course, we've seen footage, and which is an indicative that there are certain cases that are also happening in the same kind of context, but behind the cameras or behind the CCTV cameras, where thugs are beating up border riders, where border riders are conniving with machete-wielding individuals to rob and beat up Ugandans who tend to either come from bars or those who are actually coming away from work. There are lots of stories that we are seeing, and of course, the most trending round kicks within the country. That is a kind of concern that has left many Ugandans in fear because of anything that can happen to you when you're moving in town. But that aside, police yesterday came out to assure the Ugandans that everything will be back to order, or police is making sure that all these criminals are put to order and then are also facing various charges. But this is a conversation that I'm having this morning with the deputy spokesperson of the Kampala Metropolitan Police, and this is none other than ASP Luke Oweisigire, who joins us here at Broadcast House in Kampala to have this conversation. And to you, our dear viewer, you can be part of it as well by sharing your story or your side of things and your suggestion on what you think the Uganda Police can do ahead of Martyrs' Day and with the current situation of thieves in the country. Good morning and many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Looking at what is happening in Kampala, let's start from there. Yesterday, the Uganda Police, you're actually part of the people who address the media, giving update on what is happening and assuring the Ugandans of the security that they will receive from the Uganda Police. But looking back at the past few weeks, many Ugandans have been worried about the ongoing situations. But from the side of the police, what have been the findings so far?
Well, what we know is that many of the videos, we can confirm that some of the videos were captured by our CCTV cameras, and some were captured by private CCTV cameras. We can confirm that these incidents actually happened. But like you put it, it is not everywhere. It is not chaos, like many social media groups have put it out there. These things are happening, but we are not just sitting back and relaxing and let them happen. We are trying as much as possible to do something about it. And I would like to inform members of the public that we are optimistic that we shall see a fall. We're actually seeing a fall already in such incidents which are happening. Using CCTV cameras, we are trying to react very fast on incidents that are happening, especially groups of people who go on a rampage, because we have in the city groups of people who go on a rampage in things they call, an activity they call chigari. where they don't only commit one certain crime on one person, they continuously go on different people committing these crimes. We have been able to identify a group of them, and we have traced them and have had them arrested during the chaos and the activity of stealing. So we can only confirm that it is unfortunate that some people are badly injured, hospitalized, but something is being done on the people who have been, and also to confirm that every person who was seen in those footages doing all these crimes has been apprehended by the security agencies and police and is in our custody or awaiting to be arraigned in courts of law.
Okay, and then also looking into the other plans that the Uganda police has, because we've heard of something to do with foot patrols, we've had things to do with patrols late in the night, because some of these isolated cases are happening in the night, especially when there is no watcher by. So that means these gangs tend to gang up on an individual or two people or without anyone is noticed and end up beating them. So what other measures is the Uganda police employing to ensure that Ugandans are secure?
Apart from the patrols, both foot and motorized, with motorcycles and vehicles, we have also beefed up the intelligence component, identifying these individuals before they actually commit the crime, because they are in a group. They are, I would say, very organized. They know that this person works on this road, this person works on this road. Today, there is a person who is out there giving them schedules on where to operate and what to do. So we have made sure that we identify these people, and many of them have been arrested, and efforts are also underway to have them arrested, because we know the disruptions of identifying, arresting their leaders rather, the issue of identifying the leaders will cause disruption in their modus of working. So we believe the intelligence component is also very important in stopping these atrocities or kind of crimes from happening in the future.
Okay, and to your dear viewer, you can easily see that the Uganda police is working hard to ensure that we do not have these cases growing and of course taking up the entire country or happening on a daily, because nonetheless when you look at the situations that is ongoing, these are not cases that are reported on a daily, but of course we have people who are experiencing either an accident due to these robberies or an attempted run away from these robbers. And then we also have incidents where many have been hospitalized simply because they've been beaten and their property has been taken away. But then also, generally looking at the state of security in the country as of now, what in your observation can you give our viewer this morning?
Like I said, it is calm. It is not chaos all over.
Yes, true.
Yes, we have these incidents that are happening, which we acknowledge. They have actually happened. We are not trying to sugarcoat it and say no, because there is a gentleman who's no longer talking because of the kick that was, because they hit him with a kick. Along Bench Wanuka Street. He no longer speaks. So that is an impairment on him, and it comes back to us to make sure that such atrocities, such incidents, such acts don't happen again. So we acknowledge that they happen, but we would like to inform members of the public that the situation is calm. Security has been beefed up in many areas where we have a sharp rise in crime, the crime rate, working with our sisters from the UPDF, other intelligence components. We are making sure that the members of the public are safeguarded, also awakening the spirit of community policing, where the community liaises with the police in making sure that criminals are identified and also safeguarding their communities while working with the police. That is how far we feel the crime rate will go down when we work with that.
Let's look at looking out to the police in case of a situation that occurs in an area which is a bit isolated from maybe the city center or let's say the trading center. What would be the easiest route for someone to run to the police or to the authorities if need be?
We have tried as much as possible to have our police stations spread out. The president has this program that we are also trying to put in practice of having every police station, having one police station per sub-county, which is well equipped, the manpower is enough, And that is something that, of course, will help us reach out to the members of the public. It becomes easier. Of course, within Kampala Metropolitan, police stations are spread out, so it is somehow easier, of course, away from areas that are protected, like swamps. And of course, we have some routes within those swamps. It might become hard for you to report a case when an incident has happened to you, because we might not have a police station in a protected area. But it is very important to always have the phone numbers of the OC stations, of the area police or leaders within your community, so that you can make an alarm or make a phone call so that the police can always come to the rescue.
Okay. Now, 3rd June, on Monday, we shall be celebrating Martyrs' Day. Let's get into the preparations so far. We have many pilgrims that are coming in from Kenya also. We have some from Tanzania. And there's various pilgrims are coming in from upcountry areas. And of course, that means we are going to have thousands in one area. And which, of course, is going to be inviting a number of individuals with mean intentions. Everyone comes to the same place, but with other intentions. Others are coming to steal from the pilgrims. Others are coming to pray. And well, others maybe are coming in to cause chaos, generally. When you look at the preparations for this year, how different has it been from last year? Of course, if you can, first of all, take us back to last year's security detail and how everything was done during Martyrs' Day.
We are always very, very cognizant that many people will arrive in the country using all routes from the border to the airport. And we know these people come with children, so preparations are made in safeguarding the children, like having our officers from Child and Family Protection Unit on ground. We know that the routes these pilgrims use to come to Namugongo need to be protected, and our security agencies, our officers from the police and the army are safeguarding these pilgrims on the roads to avoid an incident of them being hit by cars, to avoid such accidents. And I would like to say last year we really did register a lot of motor vehicle accidents before many of these pilgrims arrived in Namugongo, which has not been the case with the pilgrim this time around. So we await, but 2 weeks before the event last year, we had already registered over 7 deaths of pilgrims. Some were knocked in a taxi, or the taxi they were moving in Busoga was knocked. Others were moving on the road were knocked. So we registered 7 deaths 2 weeks before the activity. Currently, we have not registered any. So we believe that is a plus on our side, and also on the awareness that has been put up by different organizations towards the pilgrims on how they should move, how they should sleep. It has improved, so we see an improvement compared to last year. But we are optimistic to see how it unfolds here in Namugongo. A lot of operations are ongoing to see that we pacify the area of crime, and a lot of gangs that have been identified by members of the public, and that information has trickled down to us. We have responded, and a lot of them are going to be arraigned in courts of law. We hope that by the time Martyrs' Day celebrations come, we have a very, very clear Namugongo ground, and the different prayers at the different venues will take place without any hindrance.
Okay, and of course, you know, with this issue to do with the gang bit of it, at times it calls upon community policing to join forces and hands. But there has always been an element of fear amongst them, the community members, even with the current footage that we have of, you know, the gangs in town beating up people. You realize everyone is a bit scared of helping the person being beaten. What do you think is the case, is the cause of this?
Well, like you said, we need to revamp the whole issue of community policing. People are not aware of what they're supposed to be doing as members of the public. They assume that this is just the responsibility of the police, but you're also aware that the police will always come in later to make sure that the communities are protected. We might not be on all the roads. The ratio, as it has been, is still one police officer for over 1,000 people in the country. So that is something that we are trying to bring down to 800. So you can see that the police officers are still very few, and we shall only keep advocating for community policing. In such an incident, members of the public could have made an alarm or blocked, because it was still rush hour period, and it was an open space. It's not like he was beaten in a cocoon, surrounded. They could have made the citizens arrest, made an alarm, and the police, which I know is not quite very far, could have come in. But if the police is not aware that an alarm has been made, might not know whether a crime is being conducted in that specific area. Of course, the CCTV cameras can also inform them that the crime has been committed here. But remember, these are incidents that happen, that take seconds. Yes. They don't even reach minutes to happen. So we believe the community could have done much more other than just looking on, and we believe there is need to revamp the community policing engagement.
Afande, there is there is an element that many of the people who would be part of the community policing are scared that once they help in the process, they are most likely going to face it rough with the gang members. After helping, let's say, someone who is being beaten, and then you come out and you try to safeguard them, you may end up being beaten. And some feel like,
but it depends.
It
depends on the situation, because that was in a very different setting where anyone could have helped, and there would not be any implications towards them. Where we have issues with members of the public always getting involved in such issues is when they tend to go overboard. You have arrested a
mob justice kind
criminal, and mob justice takes place. That's where we have a problem. But arresting, apprehending that suspect, there's no crime in that. But where it goes overboard and they start beating and killing them, it is something that we have a problem with. But in such a setting, you don't have an excuse that a criminal would identify me. It's not like you are supposed to chase them. Where we have issues is where they chase these suspects and they corner them in a small, they put them in a small corner and they assault them from there as they are trying to rescue. But in such a setting where it was spread out, members of the public were many, I believe they could have done something as members of the public, which would have helped us identify these suspects faster.
No, Afande, you've put me in a twist of things, and I would wish to know some of the elements of community policing, because I would love to also be part of a situation where, if at all there is an ongoing robbery and I can help in one way or the other, what are the quick things that people need to know? For now, what I do know is that going overboard and beating, or let's say burning this person to death isn't the way to go. But what is this? What are some of the simple things that someone can do to be part of this?
The very simplest things are to weigh the situation you're in, because the situations vary. You might find a situation where the gang is more than members of the public.
Okay.
You have to weigh the situation.
True.
You can either pull back a bit or run away making an alarm. That could also help in a way. If you feel the community, you're more than the criminals, it is a collective effort, the community coming together and stopping these criminals from advancing with their intentions. So we believe working together as a community is very important, other than responding when you're solo, which can later on turn into a problem towards you. Yes.
Okay. And well, of course, to you, our dear viewer, I've been seeing some phone calls coming in, but I would prefer we send just text so that we can get to answer some questions in regards to the preparations of Matters Day, and then also to know more about the current or the ongoing crisis in Kampala, or the ongoing isolated. Why I use the word isolated is because these cases are not so many as of now. Isolated because we will report one today, one on Saturday, not so many as such. And then, Afande, back to the Uganda Matters, do we have points where the police will be centered, or let's say mini police posts? Because, you know, there are going to be thousands of people here, And that means anything can happen, whereby someone would either need to keep their property, and the easiest and simplest person to deal with is the police. But before we even go there, there's some allegations on the side of the police that at times the police officers connive with some of the thugs in a situation of, you know, stealing from the passerbys, late in the night, more especially.
Well, I've not had that allegation.
Very minimal allegations.
But the allegation I've had is against our officers is when the community or a member of the public comes to report to the police,
yes,
some officers are aware of the criminal who could have committed the act. That is the allegation I've had. But them taking part of the grabbing is not something I've had before. But what I can only appeal to members of the public, if you have any information that our officer, either in uniform or not in uniform, has taken part of such an activity, please bring it out forward. But these allegations, like you said, that are out there, random, said by random people on social media, on talk shows, but we have not actually gotten formal complaints, which of course we can rely on to follow up such incidents. Yes.
Okay, and you know why I'm still moving in the direction of allegations, because I want you to help me and beat these allegations. And there was also a report that was released in regards to that some of these are ex-convicts. Some of the thugs that we are having today are ex-convicts. And of course this kind of paints a bad image to, you know, to our security details in regards to why do we have these ex-convicts continuing to do certain things, and do they even meet justice? Because some of the Ugandans feel it would be better if they met justice after the kind of tears they caused on some of them.
Well, it is not something that is up to the police. If someone is convicted of a crime, it depends on the judge. The sentencing depends on the magistrate or the judge. The sitting judge or magistrate. So on our side is to make sure that we bring up compelling evidence, which is sufficient enough to give a harder punishment. And in most cases, the evidence part, sometimes we fall short of the evidence part. Not necessarily because we have failed to look for it, but like I said, sometimes we fail to get that cooperation between members of the public and the police. When a crime happens and someone is accusing a person of, like the incident that happened in the one that was captured on camera, Ben Chwanuka, away from the aspect of having the CCTV footages, there are statements that should be recorded from the ground, because people were watching this. And these are people who are supposed to come out, volunteer information, and confirm that these people were actually the ones seen on the ground, because people saw them. But you find an aspect where people don't want to volunteer this information to us. So it becomes a little bit hard for us when the evidence is not sufficient. With the little evidence that we have, the trial magistrate or judge might just decide to give a lighter sentence, or sometimes even say there's not enough evidence and the suspect is exonerated because there's not enough evidence.
Okay.
So we believe we ought to do much as police, but also members of the public need to work with us in making sure that we rid these criminals, we rid our streets of these criminals.
Okay, let's also now talk about the compliance of the public this time round. You know, I've been putting you a lot in the picture as the Uganda police as well. But when it comes to the side of the public, to the community, how compliant are they in terms of, you know, putting an end to crime? Also, when it comes to community policing that you want to enroll out once more and harder this time round. But how compliant have they been this year alone, if we were to look at 2024?
Well, members of the public are trying. We might not be trying hard enough, but they are trying. And we believe that when we work on our relationship with them, the more things will get better. Our relationship in the recent past had gone down a bit, but we are advocating for this. We are continuously advocating for this from the OCs to make sure that they continuously involve the communities in crime prevention activities. So we believe that is the most important aspect in getting rid our communities of criminals.
Okay. And then, well, of course, to you, our dear viewer, you get to realize that the police is there to maintain law and order. But of course, this law and order is something that we need to be part of. You know, when you're being part of the law and order, that means that you're supposed to report the cases to the police and also be very vigilant and look out to some of the colleagues that are making it within the town or your new neighbors and everything. So any strange movement that you notice and you're not aware of anything, you can clearly go out to the police station next to you and talk to the authorities there. Now, Afande, your message to the believers ahead of Martyrs Day 2024 on Monday. Many are coming in. Of course, when you're heading to Namugongo, the issue on mind is the prayers. You don't want to mind about the negativity side of things. So your message, and I hope to believe this message would be sort of buying confidence from the public that everything will be set by the Uganda police. Yeah,
I would like to inform members of the public that yes, we have Martyrs Day celebrations on 3rd. I believe that will be a Monday next week. It is something that many of us look towards for as the year begins, and a lot of believers from different parts of the world and the country are coming in to celebrate this with us. On the side of Namugongo, we know that we have provided what we believe is in our means to secure members of the public. We are bringing up all, I don't remember that English word to use. We are bringing out everything within our means that has been availed to us. We are bringing it out to make sure that members of the public are safeguarded as they move to Namugongo, and at the same time when they are in Namugongo, they are safeguarded. So we believe that the day will go on as planned. We have never registered any incident, not because it is luck or prayers by God, but because also we are prepared. Luck and prayers can only happen to someone who's prepared. So we need, because of those preparations, those aspects tend to work for us. And we are very prepared to make sure that we secure members of the public.
Okay, I found that some of these isolated cases have borders in them. So far, those that have been captured by the CCTV cameras. And then I was following an argument on the X app, and someone tweeted saying that I think we should consider looking into border riders a bit more to ensure that at least they are more regulated, so that we know that if at all such an issue happens, we know the border stage to look out for the crime. And of course, these are, views from, the public. When you look at the border industry from your side of things, in your observation as the Uganda police, regulation-wise, it does seem like it's becoming another huge problem for many of the urban dwellers today. I'll
give you a small story. Last year I went to a certain country.
Oh, okay.
And whenever you would want to move out, you would either walk to the train station, and that is something like 1.5 kilometers, or you call an Uber, or you go move to the bus station, which is also something like 1.5 kilometers from where you're staying. The difference we have here in Uganda is that the borders can find you anywhere, even at your doorstep. There maybe he's dropping someone and he's going back, and you'll just hop on the border. So it becomes something that is convenient to a lot of members of the public. Even foreigners say they find it easier to move around Kampala
because
the border is nearby. It is available for everyone. So the convenience itself makes a lot of members of the public not have an issue with borders because they are very convenient, and there is more, a lot of aspects in our lives day to day. So we believe it is something that because members of the public use it out of ease to go through jam, to go through what, it has been abused by some members of the public who take time to buy these borders, and when you stop him somewhere, they're actually criminals because they don't have designated stages. You can just stop it anywhere because it can even find you at your home. So some of these people have abused them. They target away from just attacking people on their way home. We have had incidents where the border will drop you home, and if they realize they are actually a lady that stays alone, in the evening they will come and break your house and rob you. Or during the day when they are very much aware that you're not around, they will come and break your house. So we might not only look at the attacks on the borders themselves, but these people, who are they that are operating these businesses? Some of them are just operating these businesses to just canvass your area where you stay. When you're not around, they will come and do what? And rob you. The canvas banks, they know that this person is moving with a lot of money on this day and this day. And because the banks are not giving enough security to their customers while taking out a lot of money, they will just attack them on their way back home or while they're taking the money to the bank. So we have seen a lot of aspects, and I agree with everyone that it is something that is very convenient, but it is something that also needs to be regulated. We need to know who these people are, because anyone can just start up a border business. Whether they have a riding permit or not, they will just start up a border business. Even when they don't have an ID or not, we don't know whether they're even Ugandans. So all those aspects need to be looked into, but it is not something that the security agencies can do alone. We need help from all sectors in the country, ministries and everything.
Okay. Yes. And looking into your final submission as we are ending up with our discussion this morning, what would be your general message to the public, the viewer out there, with the current situation in Kampala and those who have been affected maybe by some of the few isolated cases? What would be your parting shot, if I'm to put it in that way?
Well, I want Ugandans to know that like I said in the beginning, we acknowledge that these things happen. We are not deny that these are not happening. They are isolated in nature, but it is something that when put out there, a lot of people feel they are not safe. I would like to inform you that you have to make sure that you follow certain procedures, certain precautions, as any other person. You might not necessarily, you don't need to be out there thinking that the police will be everywhere at any time. As members of the public, we need also to first put target hardening measures in place. Are moving at night, but where did I get this border from? Because they are just random people. Where are you going? Here, 2K, and a place where you're supposed to pay 10,000, someone wants to take you for 2K. And because you're excited with this kind of amount, you just open a border, and along the way, they take items from you worth $1 million. So we believe we need to be security conscious as members of the public before the security comes in. Make sure that you know your own security. Personally, I can tell members of the public that I also use motorcycles, but I use specific persons whom I know, and I know where they come from. I take time to understand them, not just a random border. If I'm going especially to places that I believe are very private to me. But if you're moving around the city here from maybe Bank of Uganda to CPS or where, you might just catch a random border. But where you believe you're going to pass in a dark spot, you're going to pass in a place that is not, you believe is not safe, you need to be on a border you trust. You need to be on a motorcycle you trust, other than just a random border which you have not even gotten from a particular stage. So we have to take care of our personal security first, and then work with the police in making sure that we identify criminals or areas you suspect criminals operate from. We work on having these operations and work with us in helping us prosecute these suspects. Okay,
Afanda, just a quick one. I do have a comment coming in from a viewer here. I think this would do for our last submission. This one says, good morning, Uganda Extra and ASP. Just wanted to inquire, is police facilitated with transport to arrest criminals if reported? He says most of the time they ask for facilitation of officers sent to apprehend the culprit, and this has made the public to lose trust and confidence in reporting some of these cases. Also, when they are, there is a reported incident, they do not respond immediately, yet some cases need emergency.
About the response incident, it is something that we have continuously improved.
Okay.
Our response has continuously improved in cases of emergencies. But I would also want to acknowledge that me personally, I've gotten people whom I know that some officers have asked transport just to go and arrest someone who is actually not even very far, in cases of assault, in cases of looking at someone whom you suspect to be a thief. I have some people who have reached out to me personally and have forwarded them to the professional standards unit. So we are only appealing to members of the public who encounter such police officers to always report these matters to the professional standards unit. And it is something that they will investigate and come up with a solution. So we do provide our OCC IDs with fuel, and the DPCs, their vehicles are provided with fuel. It might not be enough, as we might assume, because sometimes Parliament cuts our budget and all of that, but we believe it can work when we know we have emergencies, when we know a wanted criminal, someone who has been investigated and has been cited somewhere, to be picked. So there's no need for an officer to ask for transport from a member of the public, some of which are very constrained members of the public. You don't even have what to eat, or your phone has been taken away from you, and your man has been robbed, and you identify the criminal, and the police is asking for transport from you. Really, the logic really doesn't work. Where do you expect this person to get the money? Okay, even though you reached an extent of saying, let me help out, where are they going to get the money when they don't have their phones and they don't have their money? Some of these aspects are really, really unfair, and officers doing that need to be investigated and maybe let off by the police, because they are not professional police officers.
Again, thank you very much for being part of our conversation this morning, Afande.
You're welcome.
And to all of the dear viewers that are watching and have been part of Good Morning Uganda, thank you very much. And this has been Good Morning Uganda Extra. My guest this morning has been the Deputy Spokesperson of the Kampala Metropolitan, that is ASP Luko Weisigire, who has been joining us this morning to have a conversation on the state of affairs of Kampala's security. But not only that, looking ahead of what the police is preparing for the Matters Day celebrations, because thousands are already flogging Namugongo, as others are also trekking their journey to the Matters Shrine to make sure that they be part of the celebrations. But of course, the issue to do with vigilance and of course reporting cases of any sort of crime that you notice as an individual, as a Ugandan, is something that we need to take very seriously, because as far as we are concerned, at times we have to be our own lookout, but after looking out, you have to inform the authorities so that action can take charge in order to put an end to some of these cases of robbery and thuggery that are ongoing, and the current beatings of some of these particular criminals in Kampala. So that aside, you can be part of this journey by reporting these cases to the nearest police station so that we can put an end to it. 3rd June will be Matters Day. So be rest assured, as a believer, that the security will be beefed up by the Uganda police and other security agencies to ensure that you have a successful day of celebrations. And for those of you who have put in your comments and views, thank you very much for being part of the show this morning. Till tomorrow, have yourself a peaceful and a happy Tuesday. Till tomorrow, good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Gear up, grab your running